wrote to me a couple of years ago and complained that in my books I was using what he said were the teachings of Jesus and other heretics to explain about the Buddha's way. He said it's wrong to do this because it will give people the impression that all religions are the same, and it will bring Buddhism down to a low level. My response to this was that he is entitled to his opinion. I believe in freedom of speech. But I still maintain that Dhamma is not exclusively Buddhist. It's not the property or monopoly of Buddhism. It is universal. And if we understand it, we can find Dhamma, we can see Dhamma, not just in the teachings of other religions, but everywhere. You cannot find a place where Dhamma is not. And someone once asked Chuang-Tzu, you know Chuang-Tzu, the Chinese sage, where is Tao? In the sky, he said. Anywhere else? Yes, in the tree. Anywhere else? Yes, in the stone. Oh, surely it can't be anywhere lower than the stone. Yes, he said, it's in that gusai, that cow dung. It means everywhere. You cannot get away from Tao or Dhamma. It is reality. It's not in the high without being in the low. It's not in the good without being in the bad. It's not in the right without being in the wrong. It's everywhere. You can't get away from it. It's closer to you than your own skin. Now, can we see our eyes? Huh? Can we see our eyes? In the mirror? No. That's not our eyes. That's a reflection of our eye. I can see your eye, you can see my eye. We cannot see our own eye. What we see in the mirror is not our eye, that's only a reflection. If it were our eye, and you break the mirror, well, you would feel hurt. Huh? If you break the mirror, your eye feels nothing. That's not
so we cannot bite teeth.
Right. You cannot taste your tongue. It's too close. Too close. Dhamma is like that. So near to us. In fact, we could say we are Dhamma. But all the time we're looking for it elsewhere, outside. Never seen here. We have to learn about ourselves. You are Buddha. We're all Buddhas, potentially, but we don't know it. I once met a Christian. I asked him, where is God? He was talking about God. Where is God? Oh, God is everywhere, he said. Oh? Then he's in you. Oh no, he's not in me. I'm a sinner. Then, if God is not in you, he's not everywhere. You just contradicted what you said. First you say God is everywhere, and then you say he's not in you because you're a sinner. That's a contradiction. Very funny. So we're looking always outside of ourselves. Like the The man, the prince, who travelled all over India looking for his lost diamond. Many years he spent going all around, in the mountains, in the jungles, by the rivers, by the sea, looking for his lost diamond. Until after many years he came to a little village where there's a little boy playing in the dirt. "What's that in the middle of your turban?" said the child. "Is that the diamond you've been looking for?" Gone all over India looking for his lost diamond, and all the time it was there in the centre of his forehead. I suppose that's what I did too. I travelled round for many years before I stumbled across Dhamma. My searchings were often very difficult, and I was often lonely, usually alone, often lonely, often hungry and cold, tired, wet, sleeping outside in all kinds of weather. I've slept outside in the rain and the snow, in old houses, under bridges, in parks, in boats on the beach. I've slept in so many kinds of places. Homesick, sad, afraid. Search wasn't easy. When I found it, only then did I realize that I had been searching. Before, I didn't even know that I was searching, let alone what I was searching for. Now, sometimes I realize that this thing is not to be found in any special place. You don't have to go to the Himalayas to find it, or into the jungle, or live in a cave. It's always here.
I believe Prem has gone to Madras.
Yes.
The first letter in the Tamil language for this thing called Dhamma or God is Kada Wool. Wool means inside. Kada Wool.
Yes.
It's not outside. The God is
Right.
So the word was formed from that.
I
word.
see.
So when the sage went around, one big sage told me, don't look for the tree and these ones. It's inside you.
Yes,
Don't
yes.
waste your time
Right.
now.
Right.
But the people here who use the Tamil language, as you said earlier on this morning, they've just accepted it. My mother taught
Yes.
me, I've accepted it. They don't examine this word.
Yes, we don't know much about etymology.
Etymology.
It's very useful to study the origin and the meaning of words.
So it's kind of wool. Wool is in.
I see.
So you say where reference wool means in the inside.
Wool.
Wool, but it's part of the
Wool.
root word.
Yes.
But the other one is wool, the nuclear part of it. That's unnecessary at the moment. Wool means inside.
I see. Well, the Indian religions or philosophies generally talk about this. The monotheistic religions, Christianity, Judaism and Islam, they would never say something like that. That would be heresy, that would be blasphemy. I am God? Wow, they will kill you if you say that. But in Hinduism it's quite accepted. So you often hear of people saying, I am God. Sai Baba says, I am God. And it's quite normal.
They get hurt because they do not have the etymology with them.
Yes.
They don't have reasons scared with them. Go think it cool and call it serious. Because as you said just now, you've got to find it in the Himalayas or in the finally you have to come back to yourself.
Yes, you do.
No point writing there in a great wall, tolerance, wisdom, patience. That's artistry.
Yes, yes.
You must practice inside you to know this tolerance.
Right.
If somebody were to tell me one day what to hurt me with an insult, immediately get hurt. What's the point of writing that knowledge?
Right.
It's not there, it's here.
Yeah.
So when that person insults me, I have to bear it with me.
Yes.
2 days ago, I took Mr. Sagai to the shop, and I asked the shopkeeper, do you prepare a vegetarian meal? There was a Malay chap by the side. He chuckled, man who doesn't know how to live, who doesn't know how to peacefully live. I could see the thing that was feeling. But I saw it rising a little bit. Shall I stand and reprimand him? But I was mindful. I said, he was a little fool who doesn't know what it's all about. Leave him alone. I told Mr. Sakai, you wait here. I will see you in the next door Chinese vegetarian shop. I walked away. And that is the time I have to practice forgiveness.
Yes.
There's no use going to God and saying, God forgive me. So when I see people, I laugh at them. So when they laugh at me, I know, it's just a little foolish boy still.
Yeah.
I leave them alone. But they go back thinking, I'm stupid. I said, that's your business, not mine.
Yes.
Not mine.
It doesn't make you stupid.
I leave you alone. If you think I'm stupid, that's your problem, not mine.
I wrote a little poem about tolerance when I was in India. I'd like to read it to you. So what if a person calls himself a Muslim, Christian, or Jew? Does that make him less than human? The fact that he might not yet have understood what it means to be human, always special without trying to be so, does not mean that one day he won't. Did you yourself always know that names mean very little? Were there not times when you were proud to call yourself Christian or Buddhist and think yourself superior to others thereby? Remember this and be more tolerant of those whose eyes are still closed to it. It is individually and not altogether that we wake up. Having seen it yourself, you may try to help others to see, but you cannot force them. If they see, be happy, but if not, don't be sad. The odds are against success. We hope for too much, you see, and we become disappointed. We should be content with the little success that we have, because it is with great difficulty that we have even that little success. The odds are against success. Now, which do you think is stronger, darkness or light? Well, we don't pay for darkness. It's free. If you want light at night, you have to pay your electricity bill. To find light, to find wisdom, is very difficult. Not easy at all. Very expensive. Ignorance is free. The world is full of it.
There's one more thing which I hope you will be able to comment a little bit more with your experience. Why this happens is, most of the time as a young boy when I learned who the religion was, I was made to teach that you ask someone for something. Can I get first in the class? The examination is coming next. I hope I can get 94 marks for this subject, and you're all asking for something external.
Yes.
But at a higher level, which I am now beginning to see, as I told you yesterday, looking inward into yourself to see how the Dhamma functions within you. That is the only way you can keep your cool, calm, energetic, smiling way. But if you're going to give something to get something back, you're going to be the solution in life.
Yes, and hope is always accompanied by fear. In fact, they're two words for the same thing. Hope is fear. When you hope for something, at the same time, you're afraid of not getting it. hope and fear always go together like two sides of the same coin.
And if somebody here raised a question, I don't know whether the person is too right, but it doesn't not that clear. We are so set in our habits that it is difficult to break through, Reverend. Can you please tell, and I could answering the question. This is what happened. So when I realized, okay, start taking one and practicing your life every day. What it is to tolerate, what it is to tolerate. To tolerate, I need people to hurt me. Otherwise, where is tolerance?
How can you forgive somebody?
If you don't want to hurt me, if you don't want to look down on me, if you don't want to despise me, then I have no need to practice tolerance. So I need people to look down on me, to hurt me, to be unfriendly with me. Then I find whoever is up. I see the time somebody see me, pretend not to know me. First thing the ego says is, oh my, you didn't bother to give me a smile, did you, darling? It's a very different feel altogether. And when one starts experimenting, then you become truly mindful. No use reading the book on mindfulness and says, I do have a book on mindfulness. What's the point, my dear friend? You'll never make it. Most will end up as an academic, but not a practicing person. You have to practice. So when people hurt you, and now you snub you, oh, who is he? There's nobody to me. He's a fool living in a little village town. What does he know? I watch. I don't watch them. I watch him. Whether that reaction is causing anger inside me or not. Well, thank you very much for doing that to me. At least I cast my eyes low and walk away. That is the
Swallow your pride.
Dhamma works for you. Yes. It prevents you from suffering.
Yes.
I prevent my suffering. I can't change the other person, but I can prevent my suffering. It is your privilege to despise me. It is your privilege to look down on me. It's your privilege to call Mr. Lingan the biggest fool I've seen so far. It's your privilege. But it's my understanding of the Dhamma to make me what? Not to allow suffering to arise in me. There is enough suffering. Don't let me add to it. If I allow the thing to hurt me, my knowledge of Dhamma is useless. It is just a book knowledge, listening one lecture after another lecture, reading one chapter after another chapter. Every time a monk comes around again, you tell me what's your experience now. I pass the stage. So I work within me. So I love people when they hurt me. And that's nice. It's nice.
It provides us with an opportunity to understand ourselves. We cannot forgive anyone unless we hold a grudge. So forgiveness is really not the virtue that we generally think it is. It merely indicates that we've been holding a grudge until then. We are taught to forgive and forget. Forgiving is not difficult. Forgetting is. If you try to forget, you will never forget. You will remember all the more. It's just like when you go to bed at night. Do you try to sleep? Or do you just not sleep? Huh? If you try to sleep, you will remain awake. Huh? Sleep comes to us. It's natural. It's normal. But if we try to sleep, we will remain awake. Likewise, if we try to forget, we will remember. We don't try to forget. We just forget. Now,
Mr. Sakai has a very beautiful word which I learned from him. His favorite word, I hope Mr. Sakai is not here. He always says, accept.
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 Yeah.
Whatever happens,
Yeah.
accept it.
You must.
Then when you go to bed, you can sleep.
Yeah.
I've lost $20 today. Just too bad.
I'm still
But
alive.
it gives me an opportunity to accept my loss. Because you turn it around. Remember earlier on you said, turn it around. Turn the telescope the other way around. If you turn it the other way, Wherever you are, you can just have a peace. It's true.
Right.
Mr. John took away my money. It's okay. It's just true that I must have done some harm to him in my previous life.
Yes. Accept it.
I've just paid it, and Mr. Sakai says, I accept it. And I go to bed.
All right. And you sleep.
So people ask me, how do you sleep? It's just too bad. It's not that I'm without the hardship. Sometimes I work till 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m. Whereas Dr. Lee puts it, I'm paying my tapas. That's my tapas.
Yes, yes.
I'm paying for it. The monk in I don't know where, Chinese monk, Master Zen, what they call it. He says, 3 step 1 bow, 3 step 1 bow. And some in the Hindu temple, they roll around on the floor.
Oh.
We have to pay for our sins.
Right.
The Christians call it atonement for our sins.
Well, that is putting yourself down.
Yes.
Humbling yourself.
In this way now.
Yeah.
And you find that you can sleep without a sleeping child.
Yes, yes.
I was rather surprised many years ago. I was very new to Buddhism there. In 1971, a monk told me, this is what I think. At the time, my knowledge was very limited. So I was just a small young brat. He says he was taking me number 5 to sleep.
What is it?
At that time, I didn't understand. And I need to discuss with friends. Mom, taking sleeping tablet? As I went into Buddhism further, I realized he is no better than an ordinary man resorting to sleeping tablet to forget his problem. Obviously, he hasn't understood Dhamma well. So I found this is better. Sakai says, accept it. That's yours.
Right. You don't have to be happy about it, what happens to you, but until you accept it, you can't do anything with it.
I found that's a very beautiful thing which happens because every day there is someone waiting to say one harsh word, one little thing doesn't go right, or something like that most of the time, right? If you're going to get hurt for all these things, I'll end up buying oranges for the shrine. The light will I will buy anyway. You know what I mean? So I practice a more difficult part. So I can afford to give you a smile, whether I wake up 2 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't need to have a cup of black coffee or a packet of cigarette. You see, the truth is, as you said earlier, remember, Ananda, be a refuge unto thyself. Was the last words of the Buddha you quoted earlier on. Be a refuge unto thyself. Take refuge in yourself. Take refuge in the Dhamma. That is the practical way which I have learned actually last night is coming to Metta. I practiced here. So it doesn't matter if you call me a fool or what has the fool to teach me. Why should I go and waste my time? He must be a half-cracked fellow. He must be probably a big idiot or something. It doesn't matter to me. That's why I don't feel angry. Because it's helping me now. They are helping me now.
Yes.
And at the same time, people don't come. It helps me to practice solitude. I'm alone. It was a good test for me that nobody comes up. I sit alone, quite happy. I have my Dhamma book with me. I've got my meditation seat with me. I carry on my own practice with or without favorable conditions. And that is a test of Dhamma. The Buddha was able to sit under a tree there. Even if this, what you call, Tachasya something he said, I will not rise from this, he said, he touched Mother Earth. I think the Buddha takes so much of a hardship and still not surrender. How can I run away from a small thing because there's no friend? So this is my practice here. That I consider is a real test of Dhamma.
Well, like Shakespeare had some of his characters in Twelfth Night say, they met, and one asked the other, how do you do? And the other said, the better for my enemies and the worse for my friends. Oh? Don't you mean the better for your friends and the worse for your enemies? No, he said, I mean what I say. I am better for my enemies and worse for my friends. My enemies tell me the truth about myself, but my friends flatter me and make a fool of me.
That's what the Christians pray and say. God, save me from my friends.
Yeah. Well, actually, very often, when people catch themselves feeling badly towards others and disliking them, practicing Buddhists, they feel very bad about it. I shouldn't feel like this. I'm supposed to be on the way. I should think good about others. How come I don't like this person? Have you ever felt like this? Is there anyone in your life that you don't like? And you can't explain it. But you feel, I don't like this person. I don't know why. I can't make myself like this person. I can't stand him or her. Yeah? So if we do not understand what is happening in us and about our preferences, our likes and dislikes, it's as if we are torn in two, divided. We think, I'm supposed to be practicing metta, but I can't like this person. There's a way to deal with it. No problem. If we understand that our likes and dislikes are of ourselves, everyone has their own likes and dislikes, although they don't know why. They seem to be inborn. Some people like this, some people like that. Even children of the same family will have different likes and dislikes, when one would expect them to all like the same things, or dislike the same things, having been brought up in the same way, in the same environment. But we see that they have different likes and dislikes. Why? Where do they come from? Where are their roots? Why do some people like sweet and others like sour? And so on like this. Well, if there is someone in your life who you really don't like, it's completely all right to be honest about your feelings and say, I don't like this person. I don't know why I don't like him, but I really can't stand him. It's all right to say this. Be honest with your feelings. You must be. Don't be hypocritical about it. But say to yourself, I am not going to allow my feelings of dislike towards this person lead me to do something harmful to him. This is also a human being like myself. He wishes to be happy. He doesn't want to suffer. In the same situation as me. I will treat him as I would like him to treat me. And if I have an opportunity, I will do something to help him. It's not difficult to love our enemies. Not difficult at all. It is difficult to like them. It's easier to love people than to like them. It's like that we have the problem with, like and dislike, not love. If love comes up in us, it has no object. It doesn't choose and say, I love this person, I don't love that person. If we're in love, we feel goodwill, real love. We feel goodwill towards everybody. We cannot have love in our hearts and dislike or ill will at the same time. And there was an Italian poet by the name of Dante. He wrote a very famous book called The Divine Comedy about 700-800 years ago. And he fell in love with a young girl by the name of Beatrice. He never met her. never spoke with her. He only saw her twice in his own life, and she died early. But he was so in love with this girl. And he wrote later on, whenever I thought about her, I was filled with such love that I could not, at that time, feel ill will towards anyone. So it wasn't just love for this girl, it was love for everyone. Pure love. Not difficult to love people when we understand that these are also suffering beings just like myself. They don't want to be bad. They don't want to really do any harm. What is difficult is to like people. And I once came across a Peanuts cartoon. You know Peanuts? Where Charlie Brown was saying to somebody, I love humanity. It's people that I can't stand. Yes. Love doesn't choose. It has no preference. It embraces all. So it's not a matter of loving your enemies being a problem. It's not a problem at all. It's liking them that is difficult. And you don't have to like them. Doesn't matter. Be honest with your feelings. You can still love people that you don't like. Your dislike can still be there, but at the same time you can love them. And you'll be in control of your feelings. You won't be able to do anything harmful to them. Your love won't permit that. But if you do not understand your feelings, they're very dangerous. They cause us to do all kinds of bad things, to take revenge, to cheat and lie and kill and steal, because we do not understand our feelings. Our feelings are limited things. We do not know where they came from. We do not know. They needn't do any harm. It's like, because of our upbringing, because of our society, our environment, we all look at things in our own particular way. And we may deny that we are racist and prejudiced, but actually we all are to some degree. We are. Have you noticed that it's completely all right, we feel all right about criticizing people of our own race? But let someone else of a different race criticize our race and say the same things about our race that perhaps we've said ourselves. How do we feel? We become defensive. Maybe upset. It means we have some racism still inside us. Doesn't matter. This is our conditioning. If we understand it and see it's there, not pretend that it's not there, not deny it or anything like that, if we understand it, we can be in control. So that if circumstances arise which might lead other people to express their racism in different ways, we can be in control. We don't know why we were born where we were born. It's not by our choice that we were born where we were born, that I was born in England. If we had choice about where we would be born, do you think the people of Somalia would choose to be born there? It's not by choice. Somehow we ended up where we were born. And most people then think, oh, my race is the best race. It's sort of natural, because it's the only way we know how to look at things. But when we discover Dhamma, we are then enabled to look at things in different ways. If we look at things only from our own point of view, we see only two dimensions, like a photograph. Now, how can you be sure that what you're seeing in me is not a photograph? If I keep perfectly still, how do you know that I'm three-dimensional? How do you know? It could be an optical illusion. From where you're sitting, how do you know that this is not a photograph? You suppose that it's not. It could be a hologram. One of these optical illusion pictures. How do we know? If we look at life from only our own point of view, we see only two dimensions, something flat without depth. If, however, we move around and we examine things from many points of view, like the person who made this. Well, it's probably made on a machine, but suppose somebody makes something by hand. He knows it from every angle, inside out and upside down, and he knows it from his creativity with love. So if we could put ourselves into other people's positions, as we do, without really realizing it, we should be able to get a much clearer picture of things. Multi-dimensional, not just two-dimensional. We do put ourselves into other people's positions, and it's very important to do this. In fact, we couldn't function without doing so. We do it all the time, but we're not aware of it. How often we put ourselves into people's positions and see things or understand things from their point of view. We do not realize what is happening. When you are watching a movie that you're really interested in, what is going on? Your body is here. Where is your mind? When you're watching a movie that you're really interested in, where is your mind? In the movie. Actually, you become the actors. All of them. Not just the people you like, the actors you like. You also play the part of the actors that you don't like in order to have a complete story. Now imagine a play or a movie with just one actor. Very boring. A person who plays, for example, the role of Romeo in the story of Romeo and Juliet, must he know only his own part? Must he learn only his own words? Of course not. He must know all the other parts too, in order to know when to come in, when to act on cue, in time. He must know the words of Juliet and her family and friends and so on. He must know the whole play. He must become not just Romeo, he must become all the others in turn. A wife must know her husband's part The husband must know his wife's part, must become his wife. Wife must be the husband in order for a harmonious relationship to go. They cannot know just their own part. No meaning at all. The role of husband depends upon the role of the wife, just as the role of the speaker depends upon the role of the listeners. You can't have one without the other. There is no speaker without listeners. There are no listeners without a speaker. Each depends upon the other. So each must know the other's part as well as their own. So we do put ourselves into the positions of others. And it's very important. Do you know the word compassion? What it means? Very interesting. It means to suffer or to feel with. C-O-M, means with. Passion, as in the passion of Jesus, means to suffer. Compassion. It means we feel the suffering or the pain of others. And this gives rise to sympathy. Compassion, to suffer with. So try to observe how automatically and very, very often we do put ourselves into other people's positions and to feel how it is from their point of view. We don't live our own lives alone. Our lives by themselves have no meaning. No meaning at all in isolation. Only in context, in connection with other things, do our lives have meaning. By ourselves, we simply do not exist. You think about it. Even grammatically, the word I, saya, depends upon the word you. If you've just got the word I without the word you, no meaning. So I depend upon you. We do not live alone. It's not possible. Each of us is like a piece of a jigsaw puzzle. What meaning, one piece? Can you get any idea of the complete picture from one piece of the jigsaw puzzle? No. Only when fitted together in its proper place with other pieces does the picture begin to emerge. So we must see ourselves as part of something greater than we are, because by ourselves there is no meaning. We don't exist at all. It is not a matter of I and you. It is a matter of us. We. Never ever alone. As very often we think we are. In one way, in its utter, in the higher level, we're never alone. It's not possible to be alone. In another way, we are alone. Alone we were born, alone we live our lives, alone we die. But in another way, in a higher sense, we're never alone. A few months ago, I went to the university hospital here in KL to give blood. I had to fill in the form, name and date of birth and everything. Came to the question about race. I wrote down human. Why do they want to know my race? They should only be concerned about my blood in the blood bank. And my blood, like everyone else's, is red. It's a question that we should never ask. What is your race? Also, we should never ask a person's religion, and we should never answer it.
question of English. You can human being or human just human race. You said you write about human.
Yes, human. Yes.
Human being is correct or
No, because we talk about the human race.
human race.
Yeah,
Human
yeah,
race.
yeah.
Oh.
We don't talk about human being race. Human race. So human being is a member of the human race. They didn't argue with me. They didn't ask me to fill in another form. I hope they felt a little bit ashamed, actually, about asking this question. It's a very bad question. I resent it.
But here sometimes we ask you, what religion are you?
It's a very bad question. You cannot answer. I mean, just by calling ourselves Buddhists, for example, does it make us into Buddhists? We can't call ourselves anything. Now, if I say to you, I'm a good person, what would you think of me? Oh, proud fellow. Who does he think he is? We cannot talk about ourselves. We cannot call ourselves Buddhists. We cannot say anything about ourselves. Perhaps you can say oh, he's a good person. Perhaps I can say, he's a good person. But we cannot say about ourselves, I'm a good person. If we say that, we're not good. Likewise, if we say, I am Buddhist, it's not correct. Because what happens when we say this, we separate ourselves from non-Buddhists, people who don't call themselves Buddhists. If we say, however, I am a human being, and you're also human beings,
But it's not practical, when you go for hospital or what, in case you pass away, you say, you don't know where to put you now. Usually you are separated of Buddhist, Islam, they practice here now. Where to put you now?
we don't care when we're dead. Okay, for the sake of convenience. But we must understand about these things. Okay, if they want to know about that, that's their problem. Don't let it be a problem to us. Don't identify with these labels. Don't allow them to stick these labels on us, and we think that really we are what they say we are. We're not.
Even though we die, we don't create a confusion to the staff in
Okay, right. Okay.
When we practice now, some people, they are Muslim, but they die really. After the court cases come to Bengali, they go and dig the graveyard from the Muslim bury to the other side. It happens in Malaysia.
What do you think about that? No need to say, I know. That is Bodoism. Oh dear. You see, religion often makes people more stupid than they would normally be. Doesn't make them better in many cases. Makes them more narrow and more fanatic. Doesn't help them at all.
So here we have Christian graveyard, Chinese graveyard, all these graveyards out there.
Now, you have Christian worms and Buddhist worms to eat, the Buddhists and the Christians. Huh?
Yeah, Buddhist chicken.
I mean, the worms that eat the dead bodies. Are they Buddhist worms that only eat Buddhist bodies, or Muslim worms eating Muslim bodies, or what? Isn't it silly? And it's so obvious. A little bit of thought shows us how silly all this is.
This has been on my mind for some time. This statement is very apt. Religion has made people more stupid than they would be without this organized religion.
Exactly, yes.
See, look at this fights that's going on all over now. And there's a lot of barriers even in this country between one and the other. As you say, what races, what religions. Immediately, instead of uniting the people, it's disuniting people everywhere, ending up in fights as we see in the newspapers now in Bosnia, Afghanistan, and so on, all over Kashmir. You see, the Hindus and the Pakistans are killing each other.
And they're the same people, basically.
Basically, they're killing. They come from the same stock, and they're killing each other. Senseless killing.
Senseless.
Since 1947.
Yeah.
So religion hasn't done any good.
It's done a lot of harm.
It's done a lot more harm.
Yes, it has.
So I totally agree with you.
So when Karl Marx said religion is the opium of the people, he is right. But he misunderstood also. And he wanted to discard everything. He threw the baby out with the bathwater. He didn't understand that there are good things in religion. Yes.
The other one which is being emphasized.
Yes.
How to differentiate is being emphasized, and how to unite.
Yes. You see, this is like a passport to Buddhists. It allows me to communicate with Buddhists. Buddhists will listen to me because I wear this. To non-Buddhists, it's a barrier. They will look at me and think, oh, different religion, not interested. So if I wore ordinary clothes, I could communicate with people who are not Buddhists. So there are advantages and disadvantages to this. I am not concerned with only with people who call themselves Buddhists. I'm concerned with life. So sometimes I think I will dress in ordinary clothes and go amongst non-Buddhists and see how it is. I think I can still share something.
Only with the lack of apology.
Yes.
Really need respect.
Right. I don't know what time you intend to finish here. But if there are...
I think we'll stop about 6 o'clock.
Okay, is there another question? Questions? Please apologize to this lady for me because she can't understand what I'm talking about and I don't speak Chinese. But she's been very patient and sat through it all. Please apologize to her.
問啲講話佢同你講一聲對唔好 thank Bhante for all the very clear teachings, the ideas to help us open our minds to what we are doing and the meaning of life. And we also wish Bhante well-faring and Dhamma. Thank you very much.
On behalf of everyone, I would like to thank the Reverend for kindly consenting to come over to our place and sharing his knowledge, wisdom, experiences with us. And if we have at all times been a little bit inattentive or little disrespectful, we would ask him to forgive us.
There is no need.
And if I have said anything, I also ask for forgiveness.
Yes.
When we accept, the thing has already happened.
Yes.
Nothing can be done.
Right.
When we accept, the thing already happened.
Yes.
So nothing can be done. That's why we accept it.
Well, I think we have to accept before we can do anything about it.
Yeah.
If we deny it and don't accept it, we can't do anything with it.
Well, that's one thing.
It's like you're sick, but you refuse to accept the fact that you're sick. You deny it. I'm not sick, so you won't make any effort to get better. You wouldn't go and see a doctor or take medicine. First you have to accept it. Oh, I'm sick. Okay, go to see the doctor. Doctor says you've got this, you've got that. But don't worry. There's a cure for it. So only when you can accept the situation, is there a possibility of doing anything about it? That's right.
So how does you think the assertion of truth works? Sometimes, like the Buddha, we read in the Vitakka, sometimes the Buddha makes assertions of truth.
Like when he said, let us go to see Devadatta who is sick. And somebody said to him, but Devadatta is your enemy. He's tried to kill you several times. How can you think of going to visit him? Buddha said, that is no reason why I should not love him. And if my love for Devadatta is equal to my love for Rahula, my son, let Devadatta recover. This is an separation of truth. And he did recover. Such was the power of the Buddha's love, or manifestation of truth. Yes.
How does it work, really?
I'm not really sure. It's rather a mystery. But, now, in the night, if a dog barks, everywhere is quiet, and a dog starts to bark, what happens? Other dogs in the neighborhood also start to bark. You don't get horses neighing in answer to the dog's bark, or cocks crowing. If a cock starts to crow, other cocks will crow, not dogs start to bark. So there is a response. You know the old saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, the one who sees. In order to recognize beauty outside, first you must have a beauty base inside you. You must have an appreciation of beauty inside you. Then only can you recognize beauty outside. If there is only ugliness in you, everything you see will be ugly. So because we have some beauty inside, we recognize beauty outside. It's the same with Dhamma. If we have some Dhamma inside, we can understand, appreciate Dhamma outside. So there's a harmonizing, a balancing, a resonance. Yes.
This is also that aspect. You know, we already have a standard.
Yes.
So we
measure
according to
That's right. With our likes and dislikes. This is good because I like it. This is bad because I don't like that. It's got nothing to do with that. You know, that is subjective. But this Dharma inside, it's not something that we deliberately cultivate. It is something that is there naturally, latent, potential, waiting to come out. No. Natural. Waiting to come out. So we're just now beginning to open the door and let it come out. It's there all the time. It's always been there, but we didn't know it before. So what is outside harmonizes with what is inside. So when we hear a Dharma talk, we feel happy. We feel a thrill. It doesn't matter if it's only basic. And if we've heard the same thing many times before, if we really appreciate Dhamma, we feel thrilled by it. It resonates. It vibrates with us. I think this has got something to do with it. We are tapping the force, plugging in.
So in that sense, the person who is involved does not have to be present.
No.
Story of Devadatta.
Oh, no.
You make an observation yet.
Oh, right. How is it? Three years ago, I got the news from one of my uncles in England that his wife was very ill. These are my favorite relatives. It doesn't say much because I don't like the others very much. I only like these two. Very nice people. I love them so much. Favorite aunt and uncle. So I meditated for her. And I did get some energy flowing. You can feel it when it flows. You get a kind of tingle up your spine and the hair on your arms, you know. And this is the principle behind the holy water. We can put our energy in. I said I was going to charge it. Yeah, we can charge things. And distance is no object. So I got this energy going. I visualized her and I sent her this energy. And she did recover. I don't know whether it's a result of my wishes for her or what. Maybe it helped. Unfortunately, her husband then got sick and died. Soon after. So I think I was able to help her. Now, I think I mentioned to you this about this to you yesterday. Sai Baba is famous for his powers. And people come from all over the world hoping to be cured of various sicknesses. They're there all the time. And people have asked him, why don't you use your power to help these people, all these people? He said, I could help them only if their karma permits. And in many cases it doesn't permit, you see. In actual fact, what he's meaning to say, it is one's own karma that helps one. Any help that we can get from outside is due to our own karma. Some people say we shouldn't interfere in other people's karma. I don't accept that. If it's possible for us to help somebody, it means their karma has allowed us to help. It is their own karma that allows. That is their karma to allow us or somebody to help them. You know? But in many cases, we can't help. We would like to help, but
for the same reason that Buddha could not guide everyone.
Exactly. Imagine he couldn't help Devadatta. He couldn't even help Ananda to reach enlightenment. I am still a little bit puzzled about this. Ananda had been with him for many years. He was able to repeat his sermons clearly. But at the end, when the Buddha was about to die, Ananda was still not enlightened.
Oh, enlightened?
Not yet, no. Only 3 months later, after the Buddha died. The Buddha was able to enlighten people like Angulimala, Kisagotami, Patajara, so many. He could perceive their state and press the right button. And many people, how come he couldn't do this with Ananda? I asked Venerable Dhammananda about this recently. I've asked several people about it. And the answer he gave was, well, Ananda was very attached to the Buddha. He was his cousin, and perhaps he thought, well, I'm also a prince of the royal blood, you know. So this became an obstacle. I don't know. I don't know if this is an accurate explanation. It's really quite strange. I mean, we lack wisdom to see the level of people, so we have to press as many buttons as we can find in the hope that one of them will be the right one and not a rewind button or a fast forward or play or something else. But the Buddha could see, he could press the appropriate button in many cases, but not in every case. He couldn't lead many people, all people to enlightenment. It's not possible. So this idea that a bodhisattva renounces enlightenment, nirvana, until all others have gone before him is not practical. It's idealistic. And it's good in its way, but we must understand the meaning of it. It's not to be taken literally. It's like when we share merits. I don't think it actually works that our merit can go to somebody else. Because if it worked that way, it would also be possible to share our demerits and give our bad karma to somebody else, to our enemy. But nevertheless, it is a good thing, because when we're practicing this, even if it doesn't work, the fact is we're thinking about others. We're not thinking in a selfish way. So that is meritorious in itself. And if the consciousness of the departed